everyone. I am Tomás Castañeda, as Greg said. I'm Product Development Director in Sovos. And today we will be talking about how we help banks to prevent fraud, particularly identity fraud. And of course, how we cut our hosting costs by using AWS. And a quick bio about myself. I've been working in tech for more than 9 years, like coding, software design, and architecture. I've run many projects in identity verification and digital onboarding, helping millions of people in Latin America, like in Chile, Argentina, Peru, to gain access to banking services. So my focus is biometric services, digital signature, and customer and final user experience, right? So, how will you help me, Greg, to move the slides, or should I present my own? Okay, thank you. So, what is Sovos, right? I really like to show this picture when I speak about Sovos, because Sovos was built through different strategic acquisitions. So we are this eclectic mix of all these different tech companies that have been acquired in the last, I think, 8 to 10 years. And most of these companies are related to tax technology. So that's how Sovos was born, right? Working in tax technology. However, recently, Sovos started acquiring companies related to something different, something that we call trust services. Can we move to the next slide, please? Um, and what are trust services, right? They are services and technologies related to ID verification, digital signature, and contracts. We provide APIs and applications to our customers so they can achieve their own goals, right? We say true confidence for a regulated world, right? And by the way, I work in this specific line of business inside Sovos. So Sovos has presence over 14 countries, about 2,400 employees, and we will probably keep acquiring more companies. We are trusted by the world's best companies, including half of the Fortune 500 list. And with all that said, let's deep dive into identity fraud. So let me introduce to you what our customers face every day when they try to verify identity. This is a Chilean ID card. And quick note, some information has been blurred or removed from the image for privacy reasons, of course, but this is a real fraud event. And as you can see here, it seems to be the same person, right? The same picture, I mean, but it has different names. In one picture, he's Alejandro, and in the other one, he's Heriberto. So which one is the real one, right? And that's the same question that our customers face every day because they get this type of presentation attacks, right? So in this new digital, remote, post-pandemic world, banks and the finance industry in general are trying to achieve ID verification in a 100% remote way. Well, the use cases, bank account opening, wire transfers, and so on. So we help them by providing technology to prevent this type of identity fraud, right? The next one, please. And here, the same, right? Is it Alexis or is it Jose? Again, same face, two different identities. Which one is the real one? Again, like, well, spoiler alert, none of the images I've shown to you guys are legit ID cards. They're all fake. And these are, in fact, real frauds we have been detecting over the last 2 years. And well, and if you will, to the next slide, please. And the problem doesn't stop here, right? What about invalid formats? By invalid, I mean, what about someone, instead of showing their ID card, they show a photocopy or a screen replay? Some people say they lost their ID card, right? Well, we don't know, right? These cases should also be rejected because they are vulnerable to fraud. And the challenge that that companies have is that they need to verify identity while preventing fraud, right? The reasons are obvious, right? It's safe regulations like anti-money laundering, KYC for know your customers, and so on. And as I said before, the problem in fact is getting harder every single day. And let me show you why. So I'm not putting any links here, but this is actually a real website that offers fake ID cards, right? Just pick a template, any picture you want, and they can generate a fake ID card. This looks like a business, right? Well, this is a business. In fact, you can choose here. You can see in the image, right? You can choose your plan. You can choose the light plan, the medium plan, or the pro, where you can get, I don't know, 10 generations, 50 or 150 generations of fake ID cards. This is unbelievable, right? Um, and then let's go to the next slide, please. And then if you go and see the numbers, right? The numbers of fraud reported only in the US are scary. So last year, the losses related to scams, right, was about 4.6 billion US dollars. You can find this report on the Federal Trade Commission website. So the amount of money that people, companies, and governments lose every year is huge. And the trend shows that it's getting bigger, right? And if you see here, the top fraud in all these types of scams, right? The top fraud is the imposters. Those are offenders, right? Trying to impersonate other people by using fake or stolen ID cards, right? Um, so here is where our business and technology comes in with trust services. So let's go to the next one. And well, let me talk a little bit about how we verify identity, right? So probably you have seen or gone through this three-step process in the past, right? It's the standard. It's the standard like a three-step process for verifying identity. We first verify or scan your ID card, right? Then we take a selfie, and then we do the face match, where we match, of course, the document with the selfie. In particular, we provide SDKs for iOS, Android, and JavaScript to do the ID card scan. Then we also provide an SDK for taking selfies with liveness proof, I mean, and the necessary APIs to put all these together and perform the face match, the OCR, optical character recognition, to automatically extract names and other relevant data from the ID card. So this is the big picture of how we verify identity, or how identity verification looks like when it's done remotely, and in some cases in person also, face to face, I mean. But however, again, how we actually prevent fraud in Sovos inside this technology. So if you go to this next slide, please. So we developed 5 different anti-spoofing techniques. Fake ID detection, which is being able to tell if the ID card is real or not, right? We developed our own algorithm with very talented people using convolutional neural networks and a lot of sample images for training. Then comes liveness detection. Liveness is a proof where we tell if the face is actually there and it is not a screen replay or a silicone mask or a latex mask, right? Or just a picture of another picture. We really tell if someone is behind the camera. That's the idea of liveness. Another anti-spoofing technique is that the denial lists, right? Where we put on a list the faces of people that we know for a fact that had been related to fraud in past events. So every time we see a fraud in Latin America between our customers, like banks, we feed these denial lists with faces of people that have committed scams. Then we have government integrations, right? Another tool for fraud prevention. They are super important because they can tell us if the ID card has really been issued by the government or not, right? Every country, of course, is different, and all government agencies have different specifications. We have experienced in Peru, in Chile, and Argentina also. And last but not least, we have this powerful tool that we implemented that we call One Face, One ID, which means that a face can only have just one ID, one official government given identity, right? Uh, we prevent cases like a specific face being used to be Tomas, right? Or and later that very same face to be Alex, like in my previous examples in the slides that I showed you before. So how this works? This works based on a face vector collection that we implemented using AWS recognition. So we don't allow different faces with different IDs. And this tool comes in when the other four previous anti-spoofing techniques were not able to detect the impersonation. So you need to pass all the five security measures, all these five security measures to verify identity. But we still manage to make the process to feel simple for the final user. Okay. If you go to the next slide, I just wanted to double click on how our fake ID or fake ID detection works, right? We have a two-step algorithm which has two neural networks that classify the ID card. The first neural network that we call the border network classification checks if the document was tampered by replacing some security element, right? Like the picture on the face on the document, or and it also looks for strange signs on the document, like cutting and pasting stuff on it, right? That's why we say it detects borders, that slight difference between textures when the plastic of the ID card was tampered. If the network classify, well, the network could classify as an attack or as a bona fide, right, which we call digital. Then if we classify it as bona fide, then the second network comes in, right? Um, so the second network classifies the source, whether the image is printed, it is a screen replay, or again bona fide. So we have trained both networks with thousands of sample images, and we also keep training them because the attacks are getting more sophisticated. Because also the screens of the smartphones or on laptops, the screens are getting better and better, and also the printers, like more details into this fake ID cards. So I think that's a quick overview of the technology in general, of how we prevent fraud. And again, so let's go to the next slide. So in the title of this presentation, I said how we do actually manage to reduce our operational costs related to hosting, or how or where all this technology is deployed, right? So let me share with you how this technology is actually deployed on AWS in this next slide. Uh, so this is an overview, right, of how the backend services are deployed on AWS. We use Route 53 plus CloudFront to expose our APIs and WebSockets, right? We use Elastic Load Balancers with servers, of course, that perform the live image processing when our SDKs are taking pictures. We use DynamoDB to preserve some session IDs and manage other NoSQL data. We use also Lambda functions to orchestrate all the flow of the ID verification process. and more image processing servers with elastic load balancing. We also use S3, as you can see in the diagram. We use CloudWatch for some monitoring and temporary logs, and also AWS Recognition. Recognition, the AWS image processing service. So we use Recognition to enhance and complement our solution. Recognition help us with the face match, with the deny lists, and with this other process that I showed you before, the one face, one ID. So yes, great tool, Recognition. Uh, and the things that really help us to control costs was elasticity, proper configuration, right? Also storage and log retention. And now we're migrating our transactional database, which is on RDS, to serverless Aurora. So you know that we provide this service 24/7. It's a 24/7 solution, but of course it has some seasonality. So people do more ID validations during the day and less during the night. Well, except for fraudsters, probably. So we take advantage of that seasonality by reducing our costs with proper elasticity. So, well, thank you, AWS, for that. And so for the future, so what's next now? And if we go to the next slide, please, Greg. So what's next? What's next for ID verification and fraud prevention? We start thinking, of course, beyond biometrics and sometimes beyond image processing. And we're working on something that we call digital footprint. So in digital footprint is where we ask ourselves, like, are the footsteps of this particular person on the internet real? So if someone submits, for example, an email or a phone number, we will like to tell if that email or that phone number are legit, right? If they have information associated. So we are partnering up with other parties here, with other tech companies that are experts in this matter. So we're trying to build a solution where we improve the onboarding process that I presented before by using this extra information, like how legit is an email or how legit is a phone number. So how this works? So we give a score to a specific email based on their social profiles that the email has associated. In this example, you can see here that this email is associated with Apple, Twitter, well, now X, Adobe, right? But for example, it's not associated with Microsoft, Spotify, Pinterest, right? So, and the same thing for the phone number. We ask, is that phone number associated with some social profile like Google, WhatsApp, Facebook? So by using that information, we can provide a score also. So we can have a better approach to how real this digital identity is, combining national ID cards, like passports or national ID cards, right, issued by different governments, plus your footsteps around the internet, right? So that's why we call it the digital footprint of a specific email or a specific phone number, right? And well, if we go to, well, and I think well, that's what we had for today. If we move to the next slide, please, Greg. So I'd like to thank the AWS team for inviting us to this webinar. I really enjoy talking about this stuff. Of course, it goes way more deep, right? There's more to talk about these biometric algorithms and so on. And of course, if you want to learn more, you can find us on LinkedIn, like you can find us at Sovos Latin America, and you can also scan that QR code over there to go visit our website. Or you can also contact me directly. Just write me an email if you want to learn more. If you want to get deep inside what we do, our fraud prevention algorithms, biometrics, or I mean, if you just want to know us better. So thank you.